Hey everybody, my name is Gavin and I love horror. Today I'm going to be reviewing Days of the Dead Indianapolis 2021, a convention I attended for the first time last year, and it was, well, it happened. If you haven't seen my review of that con, you can check it out here. But how was 2021? Was it better than last year? Well, let's get into it. First, let me address the controversy from last year, which was the con not informing people attending that people had canceled until like the last minute, and of course, that horrible controversy where somebody posted on the official page of Days of the Dead a very insensitive and offensive suicide joke making light of suicide, and particularly Robin Williams' suicide, which made many people want to boycott future events. Well, I can safely say this year, people were given plenty of notice for cancellations. I think actually only one person canceled, and nobody posted any shitty suicide jokes, so yay, progress. However, this show was not without many faults, and most of it came down to it being the most unorganized con I have ever been to. First off, last year, fans were promised half-price tickets for future shows because a lot of people canceled last year, and we were left with some great guests, but they weren't necessarily the tier that people paid their hard-earned money for. Well, I can safely say that those half-price ticket codes just never went out. Like, I never got one. I know people had reached out to Days of the Dead for that half-price ticket code, and they were just either ignored or told they didn't know what they were talking about. But hey, you know what? That's just big brain logic. You can't sell tickets for half price if you don't give half-price ticket codes. However, the biggest issue of unorganized chaos was the lines. What was a line? Was this a line? Am I in line? Am I still somehow in a hell dimension standing in line for things? Immediately when you walk into the con, you had no idea where anything was. I stood in a line, and then I thought I was checking in for my tickets because I bought them online. I guess I was in the right line because somebody eventually came person to person and like scanned my ticket in and gave me a wristband. Then I asked the question, hey, where are photo ops? I wanted to buy some photo ops for Corey Taylor, Alice Cooper, and they said, yeah, the photo op line is just over there. Just vaguely gesturing in every direction. It's over there. So I stood behind a group of people who I assume were in line over there, only to realize, nah, they were just people grouped together who looked like they were coming out of the hallway for the line, but they were not. Like, can you find a line in this mess of people? Because I sure as hell couldn't. Instead, the line was actually down the hall, and the line was long. And the line, I get lines are longs at cons, I get that, I understand that. However, this line was a shit show because this line was three things in one line. This line was for if you needed to buy a photo op. This line was also for if you bought your photo op online. And also this line was for if you needed to pick up your photo. There was a chance you would have to wait in the same line 3 times before you actually get your finished photo. At that point, I honestly said, screw it. I don't need photo ops that bad. I had money to spend, but decided not to because it looked like too much of a hassle to do so. That was money they did not get from me because they could not organize a line properly. The celebrity lines were not any better, like they were not marked. You could see long lines for certain people, but you had no idea who it was for. The big guests there, of course, were Alice Cooper, Phil Anselmo from Pantera, Corey Taylor from Slipknot, and Richard Dreyfuss from Jaws. My girlfriend and I only really went to this con to meet Richard Dreyfuss, get a Jaws poster signed. There were some other people from Jaws there as well who we wanted to get autographed, but Richard Dreyfuss was like the big one. And he was the big one for a lot of people, but you didn't know where his line was until you asked somebody, you're like, hey, is this the Richard Dreyfuss line? And they're like, yeah. It wasn't marked, there was no indication, there was no sign saying Richard Dreyfuss line. This is where the biggest issue happened. Nothing was marked at all this convention. You didn't know where to check in, you didn't know where photo ops were, you didn't know where not one single sign. And the staffers and the volunteers, who I had no idea who most of them were, just didn't know a lot. And that's not their fault if they were volunteering and didn't know a lot. Most of them existed only to tell you to get up against the wall and stand in line. And it wouldn't have been so bad if the lines weren't pouring out from the convention to the hallway of the hotel. And this was fine, but there were so many lines in the hallway where there was a line in the hallway for Alice Cooper, for Corey Taylor, one for Phil Anselmo. You didn't know which line was going where because they all kind of converged on each other and also were in the middle of everyone trying to make their way through the con as well. It was just a complete cluster. From start to finish, my girlfriend and I waited 4 hours in line for Richard Dreyfuss, which is the longest I've waited to meet any celebrity at any con. And a lot of that is my own fault. I get that. I only bought a 1-day pass. It was for Saturday. It's the busiest day of a con normally. So that's a little bit on me. But there was also nobody knew what was going on. We were informed when we were getting close to the front that Richard Dreyfuss had to go do photo ops. just fine, we get that. He'd be back in 45 minutes. That's fine, but now we're held hostage in this line for at least another 45 minutes. That 45 minutes turned into 2.5 hours. We weren't getting any updates on what was actually happening outside of that actual beginning 45 minutes. We were told, hey, it'll be about another half hour, things are running slowly. And then we get, oh, another 15 minutes. We didn't know what was going on, except that we were waiting in a line for a line that was not moving for about 2 hours. Luckily, my girlfriend is an absolute trooper. She said, hey, I'll wait in line here for you. I know you have other stuff you want to do, so go do that. If my girlfriend had not been a trooper, or had I been by myself, I would have gotten only Richard Dreyfuss's autograph and not been able to do anything else at this con. And what also sucked is there was two main rooms of the con. There was a main kind of vendor room, and then a vendor room with celebrities. And I feel bad for any vendors because they weren't making money, because most of this convention was spent standing in hallways. Even if you're in the vendor room waiting in line, you can still like kind of peruse things. We were all in the same hallway for hours. And the main celeb rooms, it was also chaos because people's lines were bleeding into other lines, because the way they had it set up, they had the vendors on one side, and then right across a very narrow space was celebrities. And so all the people had to line up to meet the celebs perpendicular to their table. So you had the Daniel Harris line bleeding into the Tony Todd line. You had people just trying to make sales, but their booths were being blocked by the guys from Terrifier. It was just a mess. I couldn't get in Tony Todd's line until Daniel Harris was gone, so I knew I was in the correct line. And I know I'm harping a lot about lines, but listen, I do have a solution, Days of the Dead, and I'm gonna give this to you for free. Would you like to borrow some tape and some signs? Let people know where stuff is so we can like figure out our day. Okay, I know we've gone real negative real fast. But I wanted to get that out of the way. I wanted to give my honest review of just what an unorganized mess Days of the Dead was. However, when I did meet the celebrities I was there to meet, they were all very, very kind. Except for Corey Taylor, who wasn't that personable, but he had such a long line that like, I get it. He didn't have more than like 30 seconds to spend with people because he had to sign and go. I get that. Richard Dreyfuss, well worth the wait. Great guy, very funny, joked with me and my girlfriend, took a great photo, signed our poster. Amazing. The other people from Jaws, also incredibly nice. Jeffrey Voorhees, who played Alex Kinder, very, very nice, had a lot of great stories about shooting, so it was just great to talk to him. And then we got to meet other people like Tony Todd. Tony Todd was incredibly kind, incredibly humble, was super nice, asked me how my day was going, asked me about my career, and just really took time to talk with the fans. And you could tell that he was very humbled to be there and that we allow him to live his dream every day. So Tony Todd is definitely one of the top 5 nicest celebrities I've ever met. He's a horror legend, and it was so cool to be like asking him questions like, hey, are you involved with Jordan Peele's Candyman? And he was like, why is everybody asking me this? Of course I am. Of course I'm involved. So that's really, really cool to hear. And honestly, I wasn't even prepared to meet the guys from Terrifier, but I had extra money because I saved on not buying photo ops. So the guys from Terrifier, David Howard Thornton, who plays Art the Clown, and director Damian Leon, both super great guys, very personable, and they were definitely class act, and they promised me that Terrifier 2 would be more messed up than the original, which I'm very much looking forward to. The vendor selection was about the same as last year. Lots of shirts, lots of weird knick-knacky serial killer stuff, of course. It was cool running into my friend PJ Starks and Eric Huskisson from Blood Moon Pictures and Scream Team Releasing. Buy their stuff. Oh, and one peeve that I did have that I forgot to mention earlier is that Days of the Dead never releases autograph pricing until like never. They don't do it. You have to rely on other people who are there to say, hey, here's how much so-and-so is. And I just hate that. I hate that. I don't know why they keep it so secret. I know management makes the talent's prices, but what is the shame in releasing how much things are? I want to know how much money to bring and how much money to bring. I don't want to rely on other people who are there to possibly lie to me or let me know. Also, there was some really funky stuff going on with Corey Taylor's prices, where before the show, his manager announced it'd be $70, but then when I got there, it was only $60, but some people did have to pay $70, and they don't know why, so that is not great. I got the benefit of that. I only had to pay $60 to have my Funko Pop signed, but if I had gotten there and I had to pay more than somebody else, I would have been a little pissy, so nobody knows what's going on with that. And that is kind of sucky. So release your autograph prices ahead of time so people know what the is going on. Overall, I would say that this year was slightly better than last year, mostly based on the amount of celebrities that actually showed up this time. Still, this is a con that is the most unorganized that I attend. I go to a lot of cons, and this one is just like, I don't know how they do it. Like, I know putting together a con is hard, I get that, but if you can arrange airfare and hotel stay for Alice Cooper, a rock legend, somebody can be in charge of getting some fucking gaffer's tape and marking where a line is. This may sound shitty, but I'm honestly happy that Horror Hound is running again, because that con has been well organized for many years now. They have a lot of space, they have great celebs, nobody posts shitty suicide jokes, so that's always good. So I'm just happy that that's coming back. I will not be back to Days of the Dead unless a few things happen. Unless they change management, unless they change the venue, or they just bring somebody that is just so over the top and crazy that I absolutely have to attend to meet them. But until that, this is it for me for Days of the Dead. What did you think though? Were you at Days of the Dead 2021 in Indianapolis? Did you have a good time? Am I being an asshole? Did you help plan the event? And am I banned yet? Let me know in the comments below what you thought, and what are some of the best horror cons that you've ever been to? Who are some of the nicest celebs you've interacted with? As always, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Gavin Horror. That'd be great if you followed me there. As always, please leave a like and subscribe for this video. If you subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it. Somebody actually said they saw me at Days of the Dead. They did not say hi, but they did recognize me, so yay! Vindication, people are watching, so that is cool. Let me know what you think, what you want from the channel in the coming future. Let me know. As always, until next time, stay weird.